Hello, beautiful friends, and welcome to this space. Today we have Gianluca Callara with us. Welcome, Gianluca.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I'm really excited to have you here. We have been talking about doing an interview for quite a while, like a year or two or something. We first met, actually, I can't remember, 2 years ago?
No, maybe like 3, 4.
No.
I think so.
Well, we met in Glastonbury.
3 years ago.
Yeah, it's quite a while, isn't it? We met in Glastonbury doing a weekend retreat with Bridget Nielsen, and
hmm
yeah, it was a really beautiful group of people, and yeah, we spent a bit of time together, and I've just been watching you grow and share your gifts with the world. So, like, I think it would be really lovely if you could share a bit of background about what you do now, maybe about your Facebook page and what you offer there and your artwork, and also yeah, like how you got to a place where you are open to other realms and able to communicate and receive information from other beings.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
So my name's Gianluca Callara. I'm an intuitive artist, a spiritual mentor, and an energy healer. I started my journey over 10 years ago now. So when I was around 13, that's when things started to happen. I started to had a third eye activation unknowingly. So how that happened was when my nan passed away, my sisters went to a spiritualist church a few times, and then me and my twin brother went a few times as well, because I was just really interested. And when I saw the mediums doing their thing, giving readings, as a 13-year-old, something just like I had a light bulb moment. Like it was just I could see like the room became clearer, and I just had this resonance within me, like, oh, I can do that. I know how to do that, or I want to do that.
Mm.
Almost like I saw a superhero, like someone who had powers, and I was like, oh my god, yes. Like when I was a kid, like a young kid, I remember um, I remember making like little potions in the garden, like with rose petals and like some mud and some water. And like, this is a healing potion, or this is a love potion. Like just little things like that. And
Yeah.
like me and my brother always used to make stuff with like mud in the garden. That was our thing. We didn't like, we come from an Italian family. We didn't have like technology back then. Like everything was be in the garden, grow your own veg, like be very grounded kind of thing. And so when I was 13, I didn't know anything about psychics or it's just medium in spiritualist church. And I remember praying, like, please God, let me be able to see, like, please let me be able to see.
Mm.
And I think it was my intention
Mhm.
and my willpower. I opened up my third eye. And so I started to see spirit. I started to see things that were really weird, actually. Like, I don't think spirits really look like that. My sight has changed very much now. Before, it was very outside of myself, because maybe I was perceiving the world more outside of myself then, whereas now it's more an internal reflection of everything, or an external reflection of my internal world. Um, and so I remember this one time, I saw this very, very tall man in my house wearing one of those really long kind of trench coats. And he looked like you see in cartoons when dwarfs, like there's three dwarfs sitting on top of each other walking and with a big coat over them. He looked like that because his head was like round and very small. But he was really tall, and I was like, that doesn't look like a spirit. That looks more like a nature spirit. Like I knew that was like someone was having fun with me kind of thing. But I was never scared. I was always intrigued.
And can I ask you how you perceived that? Did you actually see it in physical form,
So
or
it
was
was
it?
more, it was kind of physical, a bit holographic-y.
Mm.
So
But as if it
see-through.
was there, like kind
But
of.
yeah, it was like outside of myself, yeah.
Okay.
But I think the very first thing I ever saw, being I should say, was a saint. And growing up in an Italian family, we have this saint from our village back home in Italy. Her name's Maria Santissima della Libera, and she's like a version of Mother Mary, and she's dressed in gold jewelry, head to toe glowing gold. I'm not really sure what she's saint of, but I think abundance, miracles, stuff like that. And I remember when I was little, I used to share a bunk bed with my brother. So I was on the bottom bunk, and it was at night, and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep at all, and I called my mum in the room. Actually, I think this was before I had my awakening, my third eye awakening. I think this was before I was 13, actually, because I was scared at this point, and I couldn't sleep. So I called my mum during the middle of the night, and then she came, and she just kind of was like, "It's fine, you can go sleep, blah blah." And then as I was looking at her, as I was laying on my side, she was like, "Okay, I'm going to go to bed now." And as she turned and walked away, where she was standing, an apparition appeared.
Wow.
And it was glowing gold light, and this Mary, this Divine Mother. But I was so scared. I turned around and put my covers over my head. And I remember praying, saying, "Oh my God, please get rid of this."
Wow.
And I was really scared. But the energy was gentle. It was loving. But I was freaked out.
Yeah.
But I think I was around 8 or 9. It's hard when you reflect back on your journey, because time, like these time stamps, I just don't remember like which went where. But I think I remember that very clearly. And then throughout the years since seeing, I did loads of Googling, and I found YouTube, and I found loads of people on YouTube that explained a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, you're so lucky to have grown up with all of this, access to all of this.
It's true.
Yeah.
And then before, it wasn't about personal development at all. I didn't know anything about that. It was more about how can I be like a medium or a psychic. And it wasn't even to do readings for people. It was just to have an ability, I think. I think the superpower thing really resonated with me when I was younger. But now it's like, oh yeah, it's just...
It's who you're meant to be, isn't it? It's like what you're meant to do. So it's like coming out.
And now the personal development these past few years is really kicking in.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so over the years,
I
found out about healing, crystal healing, Reiki, and all sorts of other tools, and I trained in those methods, and I trained to be I do Reiki Holy Fire, which is just a different form of Reiki. I was attuned to Lemurian crystal healing, so working with the energy of Lemuria, and specifically Lemurian quartz crystals, which really resonate with me as being a starseed, like many of us are.
Can I just ask you to expand on what you understand a starseed to be? Because I don't know who knows what on this channel, as like we've been doing mostly kind of nature spirit stuff, and I'm quite excited by this interview as well, because I'm really open now to opening up, the unseen realms into other areas as well. So it'd be really great if you could just touch on what that means for you.
So a starseed, so everyone is a starseed in truth, because everyone has a galactic history.
That'll be because we're all part of the galaxy, right?
Exactly, it's true. It's true. And if you want to look at it as in a physical way, where my belief is humans are let's just say, children of different, like a mix of different extraterrestrial races.
Yeah.
I don't believe that humans were necessarily originated from planet Earth. Because if we were, we wouldn't do all the stuff that we're doing on it right now. That wouldn't make sense, would it?
I guess not.
No. But I think we have come here to create her as our home, or to create this place as our home. At least the conscious people are, and so I believe our ancestors were like eons ago, were a mix of different extraterrestrial races. And I think extraterrestrials have had participated in human evolution, which I believe explains the big jumps from apes, animals, to people who can think and do stuff, you know. And also spiritually and energetically, our souls can resonate more with different star places and other worlds than planet Earth, you know. But everyone in their incarnational cycles have experienced many different worlds. Why wouldn't you? You know, it's just that simple. Even nature beings are very aware of the galactic connection, because they see that, they know that they are one part Earth and the other part the universe. It's just the bigger home, you know. Like our Earth is one, and then where's our Earth? It's in the galaxies, like is in space. So of course we're part of space as well. It's just the oneness, the wholeness.
Yeah. Do you have a race that you, or a star system or anything that you connect more with?
Well, I work with loads. I think because I'm a painter and I'm painting these different energies, I almost am like a librarian in art form, or like I don't know what it is. I don't know what I would call myself. But I feel like I need to connect to different races because I'm painting them to share their vibration.
So like a bridge. You're like a bridge.
Yeah. So I resonate with a lot. I really like the Pleiadians.
Me too.
Yeah, I really like. I will have a strong connection to the mantis beings.
Me too. I saw that actually. I was just scrolling through your Starseed Wisdom page on Facebook and saw that there were some mantis beings there, and they've really shown up for me. And so that's really fascinating, isn't it? It's like, here are these like ET beings, the mantis race, but then we have them in insect form on Earth, you know.
Well, this is the thing. I think that, I don't know if this is true or not, but it feels correct. A lot of the animals and plant life on Earth are reflections of the outer world as well. So almost like the feline beings, I work with the lion beings.
Yeah.
They come here as mirrors and reflections and anchors of that consciousness.
Yeah.
And the dolphin beings, they're working with the cetacean energy of the whales and dolphins, working with the energies of Sirius, you know, and the star system of Sirius. Again, they're here to anchor that energy, and we can work with them in power animal form, in a shamanic way, and that just develops into a more galactic energy.
I love that.
Again, I know a lot of starseeds do this, and New Age people do this. They look out for everything. It's not outside of yourself at all. It plays outside of yourself because that's where the stage is, but it's inside. Like, you have to go in and feel and look, and then it will present itself outside.
Yay.
Because then we can get lost and we can look for illusion and make stuff up.
And then people don't want to be here as well, almost. It's like this, like looking out as if to say everything else is better. But this is, it's like, from what I've read and what I sense within myself, that this is a like the living library, it has been called before, of like where all these different races get to come and try and find harmony together. Yeah. I think I'm really pleased that you've spoken to that as well, that it's about being in here. And
a lot of spiritual people unfortunately run away from things and are looking. I think maybe that's why spirituality appeals to a lot of people, because
escapism,
it's different. It's very different. Like, our lives, well, it depends who you are, but my lifestyle is very different from my family. Like, no, not saying you have to go by these rules to be spiritual by any means, no, but you just slowly start seeing like, I'm going to clean out my diet, you know. I want to be more aligned with like eating a plant-based diet. You know, the water I drink, it has to be clean water. It has to not be filled with chemicals. You know, I need to be outside in nature. I need to do a career that feels good for me, that brings me joy. It might be hard work, maybe much harder than a 9-to-5 job, but it's hard work in a different way. It's hard work that in the long run isn't actually more difficult. It doesn't bring you pain. It actually brings you more joy, because you know you're working from your heart. And it's hard because the foundations haven't been laid yet, and we have to lay that foundation for ourselves, and that's the hard work.
Yeah.
But once you do the groundwork, oh my God, we're going to see a lot of successful spiritual people in our lifetime, because the old way of spirituality isn't working, like vows of poverty and all this kind of stuff. I don't want to play that game. I'm still living on the earth. I don't want to be a poor spiritual brother. What does that mean? No. And like, in truth, everyone's spiritual. It's just we've awakened to this. And so we're not different to someone who doesn't understand what we understand. But it's just the choices we make come from a more heart-based place, you know? And so everything that we do is more conscious. And so there's more work to it because we have to think about it more. And people don't like to think about it. They don't want responsibility, which again is escapism. Some people, well, that isn't escapism, but some people prefer to escape. So they don't want to be conscious of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So do you feel that that's what you're creating at the moment, a space to invite people into in order to have other people around them so that they can feel safe to open up in these areas?
Yeah. So I'm trying to have a space. So I've got a group on Facebook, which you know about, you're a part of. And if anyone wants to join, it's called Starseed Wisdom. It's a Facebook group. It's a private group. So just ask to join and I'll accept you, obviously. And it's a real space for anyone on the spiritual journey, anyone who knows to live from the heart space and cultivating more joy in their life. It's not a space to vent. It's not a space to like run away. It's a space to go inwards. Or at least that's my intention. It's a space to like do work as a group consciousness. I do weekly meditations on the group, live video meditations, which then go up on YouTube. And in a lot of the meditations, my guides guide me to work as a collective and to do healing work as a collective. And as we heal each other in the group, we also do cleansing on the earth. We cleanse the Wi-Fi signals, like we cleanse the internet connections, we cleanse the land, the waters, and we pray for more love and healing, you know. So working as a group collective is very powerful because it's easy to do it online. You have more access to people, you know, and the internet is great in some ways, you know. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm using it, and I used to be so scared of doing live videos. I remember I have this friend, she's a psychic medium. She's really awesome, and she always used to tell me, do live videos on Facebook because people will really like your energy. I was like, no. And I said, over a year or two, I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do it. What do I have to offer? I don't know. I don't know. And then one day, I was just like, oh yeah, I think I'm ready to do a live video now. It just felt right. And so saying that, I feel like everyone has something to offer, and working as a group consciousness or a tribe, you know, everyone's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. It's really beautiful how we get drawn into different places and everybody's weaved together. Like I'm just again and again just amazed at the weave that is created between us all. It's really powerful. It's really powerful, and then we get to share different aspects with each other. And great, thanks for sharing about that. I'd love to know more about your connection with other beings, what that's like for you. Maybe you want to speak about your guides or just I'd like to just hear a little bit about who you connect with. We were going to do a dragon conversation, weren't we? And then this didn't feel quite right for today.
I'll mention my dragon story though.
Okay, yes, I love a good dragon story.
So my guides, I've got a team of dragons who work with me. They're one of my guides, or Set. Because I do the work that I do, I have many different like reference points to go towards, which everyone has, I think. Well, I guess it depends what you're doing.
Hmm.
If you're, I don't know, an accountant, I don't know if you're going to have like specific extraterrestrial guides to help you with accountancy. I don't think so. I think
You might well do, you know. Yeah, I think so. I remember like, I mean, not accountancy, but I got the opportunity to see a scientist
mm,
who works in the quantum field. And I
oh,
was,
that's definitely Starseed, isn't it?
oh my God, I was shown this great big ship that like these beings were working on and like beaming information down to him.
That's
It was
amazing.
really amazing. But I think probably we all have support in whatever area we're working in. I
Yeah,
think we probably do,
that's so. I think.
but maybe, but
I
people
don't
aren't
know what.
aware.
Yeah, I'll just speak for myself because I only know my
Do
thing. I don't know about
yeah,
other people.
no,
Um, so I got some dragon guides I work with, which are lovely. Um, then I've got my different star guides or star family,
hmm,
which are whatever I feel drawn to. So Pleiadian, Lyran. Um, I don't know, people might get triggered, but I have reptilian guides who I love to
yeah.
work with.
Yeah,
I love
I've had
working with
positive reptilian experience. The dragons are reptilian. I mean,
yeah,
I think it's really time for that whole reptilian story to shift.
so
So
boring. This blame game that people love to do, it's just as 3D as blaming the government for stuff, you know? We've allowed the government to do what we're doing.
well, it's all
So,
an out picturing of like inner stuff anyway. So
mhm,
yeah.
yeah. So, I love my reptilian guides. If we want to talk about shape shifting and hybrid stuff that happens, I mainly shapeshift into my reptilian form. When I walk past a mirror, my eyes change. Sometimes I have my family, my twin brother has seen me change.
Wow.
Not obviously not a full transformation. I think it's more an energetic overlay that happens, and they see that.
Hmm.
I tend to see it when I like, say, if I'm putting some moisturizer on, my eyes might flip, just
What
change
do,
quick.
what do they look like?
Uh,
Like little like black.
yeah, slits
Wow.
or yellow, and then
Did that freak you out when you first saw that, or is it just?
because you feel it energetically as well.
Mm, And if you've got a positive,
Mm.
what's the word? There's a word I'm looking for. Yeah, I mean, if you're not having a negative experience towards
Oh no, no,
those beings, then
no. And
yeah.
so yeah, so reptilians are great. Obviously,
Wow.
when I work with any energy, I say, I set the intention to call upon, say, my reptilian aspect of unconditional love, light, and Christ consciousness energy only.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm only invoking the most harmonized frequency possible. And obviously, people do work with different guides. So some guides who aren't of unconditional love, because they have a unique perspective that some people might need to experience. You know, so just because they're not of Christ energy, we're not of Christ energy right now, are we? We're working towards it. Our soul is, but like our minds aren't.
It's not fully
So
embodied, yeah.
yeah, it isn't. Let's be real. We're not fully embodied Christed beings yet.
Mm-hmm.
We will be. It's happening every day, and sometimes we're more in it than other times. But just because it isn't of Christ energy doesn't mean it's not as valuable as Christ. Because then again, we're hierarchying. That's not a word, but you know what I mean. We're
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that, oh no, Christ energy is more like, you know, in alignment with my life, and so your perspective isn't as valuable as that energy. So
That's
I don't
such
know.
great wisdom. That's such great wisdom. Yeah.
But
That's
obviously, just keep your energy levels high, keep your light energy high, build up your spiritual immune system, your energetic immune system. Meaning, the more self work you do, the clearer your energy is, the clearer your emotion is. As you start removing your limiting beliefs, your spiritual immune system goes up. So your natural barrier to like BS energy and low vibrational energies is up. So you just don't come into contact with it, if that makes sense.
Or if you
Unless,
do,
yeah,
say if you
exactly.
do, there's a different reaction to it. There's a
Yeah,
safety and an
and it's there
acceptance.
to teach you something that you've
Mm-hmm.
asked for energetically.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to guides again, Pleiadian, Reptilian, Lyran, Arcturian, Syrian energies. So it's just whatever, whatever wants to come through that I feel resonated to. Then I have the elemental guides, which are really beautiful. They just flow. Whatever one wants to come up comes up. I don't really have a set of guides. It's just like everything is a teacher,
Yeah.
Everyone's a teacher, so it's hard to say these are my spirit guides because I don't really know. Like I don't have. It's not like they sit in front of me and I have a full-on conversation.
Yeah.
Guidance flows through dreams a lot of the time, visions, feelings, and synchronicities. You know,
Yeah.
And so, but my dragon, I'm going to say my dragon initiation was when I became attuned to Lemurian crystal healing, which is one of the healing methods I trained in. I had 2 Lemurian quartz in my hands, and then the instructor was doing the attunement, which was a guided meditation. But whatever she was saying, I just went somewhere else. And I saw myself walking down. This was deep within the earth. And not every time, but a few times when I've had visions of dragons, I'm always going into the earth or down into somewhere, which is interesting. So I was walking down this spiral staircase carved out of stone, sandstone or something. It almost looked like an old castle, but in the ground. That makes sense. So I was walking down this stairway, and every kind of level there was an archway. And I knew this tunnel went down for miles, maybe. But I just kind of had my hand out and I was walking down until I felt which doorway to go down or to enter. But it was glowing, there was a glow to it. So I stepped into that one. And as I entered this room, it was a massive hall, like a massive, massive hall with giant columns holding everything up, all carved out of like a sandstone kind of stone. And there was this, I was about this big compared to the columns. Like it was ginormous. And I saw this great big giant, almost like a granddad dragon. And I was like, whoa, when I saw him, and he was silent, very calm, very like slow moving in a way. He was ginormous. He was just massive, massive. And I walked up to him and he greeted me, just kind of slightly bowed his head. And he was kind of like laying down, maybe like how a dog or a cat would lay down, like paws in front and back to his front. And I just walked up to him and I think he said something to me, I'm not too sure, but he placed one of his claws, which was like bigger than my body, onto my third eye and onto my heart, I think. And then just poured light into me. And then I remember these wings came out of me and they were like, I was surprised at what I saw. They were like bat wings. They were black and they were bat wings. And I was like, oh, I thought I should have like, fluffy wings or I don't know, different wings. But I was like, no, it's cool. These are my dragon wings. And then my dragon wings opened up and then I lifted and he almost like was like, well done. You're remembering again, you're coming back. Almost like I was his grandson kind of thing. He felt like a very, very old being. Almost like was there at the beginning of creation. Or was at least one of the first beings to be created, kind of that old. He almost felt like an old cosmos, And then I fluttered away out towards the light, and then I came out from the attunement.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember that week before my attunement to Lemurian crystals, I just felt this connection to dragons out of nowhere. And I kept calling them in. I didn't really have an experience, but I kept calling in their energy and trying to meditate with them. And then when the attunement happened, I had this vision. So it was great. And I've been
Amazing.
back to see him a few times, but then I just can never remember what happens or what I say or what he says. But yeah, that was my first connection. It was a very, very big dragon.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of energy would you say he had?
Deep wisdom,
Mm,
like deep wisdom, no BS at all.
mm-hmm,
Like, so he only speaks when he needs to speak.
mm-hmm,
And most of the time he speaks from the heart and telepathically.
mm,
You know, and it's just such old but deep, pure wisdom.
mm-hmm.
And this is what dragon energy is, you know. Um, but I don't know why, especially in England or the UK, there's lots of dragon stories. They're not very good stories.
It's all usually about slaying them, though, isn't it? It's
Like,
usually
how
about
hard is it?
the downfall of magic, of our connection to magic and to earth
Mm,
wisdom. That's what I'm beginning to understand now.
okay.
Um,
It's weird. It's, yeah, slang. I always thought maybe it has to do with the reptilian energy of the ego, because, you know, we've got the reptilian brain thing, which is the ego part of the brain, which is the fight or flight, and slaying that.
mhm.
Maybe that's what I interpret it as, but I don't know why in the UK there's, like, you know, George killing the dragon or something.
Mm.
um, don't kill dragons, don't do that.
And that's, I think, my part of my desire at the moment is to just bring through this wisdom that is saying that they're nothing to be afraid of, and that it's deep wisdom and just so loving, so
Mhm.
loving. Yeah.
It's true.
So like, when you've called them in to work with them since then, like, are there like would it be like a certain um theme that you're working on, or you just feel intuitively guided to call them in? Or
So
I
it can depend. I normally call them in almost every day because dragon energy is such a beautiful energy to hold.
mm,
um, Working with the elements, because I trained, I didn't continue the course, but I did a lot of training in shamanic culture.
mhm,
I did like a year or two, like learning shamanic healing and working with the elements and the four directions of Mother Earth, and I loved that so much. Um, and I worked with the dragons to work with the four elements, because I feel like the dragons are almost like the pillars of the consciousness. They are the holders, or um, the beings that hold the energy, then pass it on to us in a way. They
mm,
ground that frequency for
mhm,
us.
mhm.
Um, and working with the four elements in your daily practice is really beautiful.
Do you want to speak to
Yeah,
that a little bit? Yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah.
how you do that, or how
So,
somebody can do that.
do you want to do like a little meditation?
Just
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So, just get relaxed. Just be like a quick connection, and just begin with a deep breath in. Relaxing and settling into this space, feeling your body completely, letting go of judgment about how you're feeling, letting go of judgment how your body is feeling, and just accepting where it is now. And breathing into your heart space. This is where we call forth the directions and the energies. Spirit of the East, element of air, we call upon the energy of upliftment, the energy of newness and renewal. We call forth the energy of freshness and of new light. We call forth the air dragons to blow any etheric cobwebs, density, or etheric clouds, blocking us from seeing our true path and seeing from a higher perspective. Thank you, air dragons, for clearing our energy fields with newness and new light, allowing us to breathe in more light codes, cleaner and purer oxygen, so we can fulfill our path, our mission with ease and grace. You are always welcome in our hearts. Spirit of the South, element of fire, we call forth the transmutational, cleansing, purifying energies of fire and of the fire dragons. We call forth the violet flame dragons, asking for total transmutation and clearing. May we burn up and offer anything that we no longer wish to hold within us to the fire dragons now, as they blaze us with their gentle but powerful fires of cleansing. And now visualize yourself being engulfed in the sacred flames and the violet flames of the dragons, working with the spirit of the South, working with our innocence and inner child, knowing as we go within, there is more joy in our life, and allowing the fires to burn up anything that no longer serves us. Breathing and calling in spirit of the West, element of water, divine energies of Mother, working with the gentle and again cleansing powers of water, calling in the gentle flowing frequency of the water dragons, asking them to flow around us, allowing our creativity energies to flow, allowing our emotions to be settled and harmonized, allowing our intuition and our dreams to be heightened. Allow the water dragons to flow through glistening liquid light, calming the fires, washing away all pain, all anxiety, settling any emotions, working with these beautiful silver light frequency of the water dragons as they settle your energy into a stillness, knowing you can work with these specific dragons as individuals or as a group collective. Spirit of the North, element of earth, we call forth the grounding, supportive energies of the earth dragons, working with the golden energies to ground us directly into the core crystal, into the divine heart of Mother Gaia. Feel yourself being lengthened in energy, grounded, supported, and magnetized to her core. Feel these golden codes of light usher through your energy. Simply breathing, knowing how supported you are by the four directions and these beautiful guardians, surrounding you from above and below, in front and behind, to the left and the right, within and all around. We are surrounded by divine love, by the sacred elements of Gaia, as we harmonize back into our natural state, knowing that we are part of nature herself. We are not someone living on the planet, we are the planet itself. Our bodies are made of these four elements. In simple truth, we are connected to the earth because we are made of the earth. So remember, we are not just living on the earth, we are the earth. So connect daily to her, to your greater body, to this greater experience, and allow these energies that gently sway and circulate around you to flow. Clearing your sight, clearing your feelings, so you can clearly navigate your way through life with ease and grace. And so it is.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Oh, that was really beautiful.
That's like easy you can do every day. That didn't take long.
No.
No. And just by doing that, like, my energy feels completely different.
Yeah.
The space feels really different. And now I feel I'm surrounded by these beings because they are surrounding us, you know. And if everyone did that on a daily basis, the energy would be instantly transmuted, like so much.
Feels like the air is different.
Yeah, it feels more expansive.
And really, like, I can feel that like vital life force energy and sparkly, everything that's sparkly. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. What a treat.
So yeah.
I love your eloquence as well. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh dear, I'm somewhere else now.
What was your question?
Okay, just looking at the time. Yeah, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about or share about that's present for you? Would you like to touch on your artwork?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to hear a little bit of background, you know, where it came from, how it started. Because you weren't doing it when I first met you, I don't think.
I was drawing.
Right. Like, were you painting?
I don't think so. I think I was doing more like watercolors. I was like starting to get more creative. Actually, I remember after our Glastonbury retreat, I did a mandala of sacred geometry, and it was a mixture between blues and stuff like that, and it was representing the energy of my time in Glastonbury. Actually, I think that was one of the first kind of like activational pieces I did. And I think since then I just started to do paintings. Because like the way where my paintings come from, my personal paintings, I get visions and I get told to paint them by my guides. Sometimes they tell me step by step what to do.
Wow.
When they tell me, I have this knowing what to do next, and I can feel it's from them. Other times I see clearly in my dreams, or just before I wake up, a picture, a painting that's finished, and then I wake up and I'm like, oh, I need to paint that now, and then I paint it because I have the image. I'm given what to paint. Sometimes, like I remember, I spoke to you about the Elven people, and they wanted painting done. I still haven't done it yet, but sometimes I have beings come to me and they want a painting done for them.
And who are they?
The Elven people.
Oh, you said Elven, yeah.
Elven, yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So where do you? Yeah. I just want you to share a little bit how you feel that.
I haven't connected that much to the Elvens, but I resonate with their energy a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like I find it a little bit difficult to start communication with them. I don't know why. It's easier to talk to maybe someone else. But when I see the Elvens, they normally come in three. So like three beings. There's normally, actually I have this a lot of the time with star beings as well. They normally stand in a triangle. So there's one person talking, and then there's always two people on either side of their shoulder, just behind them.
Oh, that's really interesting.
I don't know why.
That's really interesting. Thank
you.
Yeah.
That confirmed something.
That did. I love it. This is what I love, isn't it? Just somebody can say something and it's like, it just goes, yeah.
And so when they came to me, their energy was very silver frequency energy. And when I work with the energy of trees, because I love trees and plants, like I also draw plants, like I love plants. I actually studied horticulture and garden design, so my background is gardening. Like I've always loved gardening. Like you can see this room, I've got tons of plants in here. And that's another way I incorporate the elements and also the elementals, working with my crystals and having the crystals around and the plants, because they do bring in the elemental energies, and that really helps my space to not be stagnant. It flows. There's always a life force energy flow. So the Elven people, I feel, work a lot with birch trees. I like the energy of birch, but trees in general. I feel elementals come through with the trees. And before I go back to my paintings, I've been recently seeing a lot of tree giants. I don't know if you've experienced them before, but
there was one in my dream last night.
Oh,
That's
really?
so weird. And he was under a tree, this big giant. And I remember walking past him and I was like, And it was this whole thing of like, I saw him with my physical sight. And I was like, it wasn't in my imagining. I mean, obviously I thought I was awake at the time. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, tree giants. I haven't, well, I've had dream communication with a group of tree giants, but they were more like trolls, almost like ogres, but I don't know if ogres are a type of troll. I know ogres like Shrek kind of thing, but they didn't look like him, but that's the word I would say they were. And it was a tribe, and they were so loving. And there was two different communities, one that lived in the mountains and one that lived in the fields by the trees.
So they're not like dryads who are like
These were a different group, but the tree beings, the tree giants, I tend to see as individual beings.
connected to the tree.
Yes, so I think they're the spirit of the tree.
Okay.
I don't think every tree has a tree giant, but I think some trees, I don't know how it works, but I believe, what do I believe? I believe that specific trees like us connected to specific energies, and I think some trees are portals and energies for being like the tree giants. So I've seen a few different tree giants when I'm walking, or just even from a kitchen window seeing this big tree. I saw a tree giant stepping out of it, and they're very gentle beings, very quiet again, but I think quite humorous and funny. And they have this they're not necessarily playful, like a fairy, but there is laughter to them. And they're very solid, but yeah, they're beautiful energies.
Wow, this is a new one for me. I love this.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I just wanted to mention that for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, and the fact that I saw one in my dream last night, I've never seen anything like that before. That's really crazy.
It is cool.
Yeah.
And then giants are a different thing in itself.
Yeah.
I think you can get giants that are almost like elemental spirits of mountains, you know?
Yeah.
And giants who are like elemental spirits of volcanoes and very large rocks and very big trees, like I was saying. But it's interesting. I think giants are a very cool connection to our town.
Yeah.
Going back to my paintings.
Yeah.
So I get my painting ideas and inspirations from visions and dreams or meditations. But if I'm working for a client, so say if a client comes to me and they want a higher self portrait or a galactic self portrait or a higher self transmission painting. These are paintings, obviously a portrait will be, I'll need to see the higher self's face, but sometimes they don't want to show it. So then it has to be a transmission painting, which is more symbols and light codes. I do prefer to do the transmission painting, because it feels more freer. Because again, our higher selves aren't necessarily physical beings. They're only showing us an aspect of a form to represent an energy. It's not really like they're rocking in that body, you know? But I always say a higher self aspect because it could work with a different lifetime energy that wants to flow through. So it really depends. And sometimes it's a scene that they give me to paint. So the one that I'm doing now, it's a lady seeing her reflection in the lake under the full moon. And she's working with a lot of shamanic energy. And I don't know, I've only spoken to this client on Messenger, so I don't know anything about her. So this energy needs to flow through her. So more of this shamanic-y energy like we're talking about today, actually. So the paintings just flow through however. And then I also do light language paintings, which is part of the transmission paintings, which are specific symbols that I receive and I see, that I write down, and each symbol holds a specific energy. And when these different symbols are together, it creates almost like a choir of energy for the person, and they can meditate. What all of my paintings people should meditate with, because they act as portals and are always encoded with light energy and sometimes even sound energy. So when I'm painting, sometimes I'll do chanting and speak light language into the paintings. And they're always encoded with energy. So they are meant to act as portals of light and hold a specific energy for people. I'm actually building up a collection of my personal paintings to create oracle cards. And I think they'll work a little bit differently to a reading style of oracle cards. I think these are more transmission cards. So working with what energy needs to flow through for you, picking cards, and obviously a reading will take place for yourself, but actually meditating with those cards and seeing what this Pleiadian guide wants to teach you right now, you know, and what message they have for you. So it's cards that make you go inwards instead of reading a booklet. That makes sense.
I love that. Yeah, that's really beautiful. I received when I was making jewelry, my jewelry I was shown was like it was being encoded as I made it, and then and I was even shown that it had healing properties for people that would even see it. So not just the wearer, but everyone that would ever look at it as well. I was just like, it's kind of beyond my comprehension how this works.
It's not. I don't think it is. I think you get it. I just think
I do get it. I just can't put it into words. I can feel it. I feel it. Yeah.
And also, we don't need to know how it works because
it's so important.
Then we try to control it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Amazing. So where do you share your artwork? Have you got?
So I currently have an Etsy shop, and it's called Starseed Wisdom Art. And there I have my art prints of my works, and then typically A4 size art prints, Gisil fine art prints, and I ship worldwide. And then what else do I have? I just check my Etsy. I have all sorts. I'm currently building myself a new website, so I can transition all of my stuff onto one website instead of having Instagram, Facebook, and then Etsy to like look at different parts of stuff. So I'll have on there all about my artwork, all about my spiritual journey, the services I offer, because I do more than artwork. I do also.
You do readings. You do readings with people.
I do readings, which are more like. How can I explain it? So when I go to get readings, I don't really want a reading about what's my future like. I'm not into that kind of stuff. I'm making my future, so I don't need to know what my future is going to be like. So what my readings are about, it's all about where are you limiting yourself right now in order, like, how can I help you? How can I show you what to work on, basically? What wants to be healed in this moment? And so my readings are all about self-development and actually self-mastery.
Nice.
And so it's all about returning back into your oneness, back into your heart. So my readings aren't about 3D life necessarily. It does include it, but that's not the goal. My intention is how can I empower you in a reading? And then that kind of ushered me to create a mentorship program, which I'm really enjoying. And it's working one-to-one with people over Zoom, FaceTime, Skype, whatever platform. And actually working as a mentor with you and using a mixture between energy healing, so through kind of live sessions like this, because it does work, you know, you don't need to be in front of me to do healing. So I'll do a bit of guided meditation, healing, readings, intuitive guidance, and possibly even light language transmissions for you, and actually just talking and allowing you to express and to be authentic and vulnerable and honest with yourself in a space. So you can actually see for like the first time, maybe in a while or ever, what do you want? What do you actually truly desire? And how are you limiting yourself in your desires, you know? Because as I do this stuff for myself, I want to do it for other people too, because I'm doing it every day for myself. So I know what it's like. I've grown so much since a couple of years, you know, so
yeah, I
just want to help.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that. I love what you're focusing on there, that it's about empowerment and yeah, it's so beautiful.
Because honestly, the one thing that stops people is limiting beliefs. That is the
Absolutely.
number one thing. That is the only thing. It's not your parents. It's not your childhood. Yeah, there could have been traumas and triggers, but that's over. You're not in your childhood anymore. But your beliefs are still running from your childhood, which you're self-sabotaging.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's not a blame game. So stop blaming your parents. Stop blaming anything that's victimizing you. It's done. It's over. Now you can step in a more self-empowered state and be like, okay, what is it teaching me? How can I might not be ready to forgive yet, because that's a whole different thing. You shouldn't rush forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. You
You
can't
can't.
rush forgiveness.
You can
It's
try
either,
to forgive.
yeah.
You can try to forgive, but it's not. It's just surface level,
Uh-huh.
like rubbish you're telling yourself.
Yeah.
But when you get deep and vulnerable with yourself, you can then speak honestly to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And from that space, that's where a lot of healing can happen. And again, you're not rushing to get anywhere. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to do some healing work. Rushing is just stupid. Don't do that.
Mm.
You
I
know?
love that. Do you know, I feel like I'm really learning that now that I'm like in my 40s, and I'm like, oh, I didn't have to rush. Like, I was trying to get it all done. It's like, get healed now, be like hot, like just get it all now. It's like, it's a life's journey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just relax. Like, there's so much pressure for like, yeah, getting everything sorted
It's
right now.
almost like, yeah, it's like we're trying to rush to be perfect or holy. No,
Yeah.
no, like just get that out of your mind. I have to tell myself as well. Sometimes, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that spiritual ego comes in, it creeps in sometimes.
Yeah, it does.
And it's just, you've got to remind yourself, just, it's cool. Just shut up sometimes. It's just not in a negative way, but just like, you know, keep yourself in check. And that's why going inwards, you can know when you're flowing in and out of that heart space, when you're going back into your ego.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know when they're talking from a place of judgment and hurt and pain. Some people can say some horrible stuff because they're talking out of fear.
Yeah.
They don't know that you can speak from a place of love and understand that this situation is not right, but not attach so much to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm.
But yeah, so just this is why going inwards daily is such a powerful tool, because you get to know who you are, you get to feel who you are, you get to feel your sensations, you get to feel what your body feels like, and if it feels good, if it feels bad, not judging if it feels bad or good, but just knowing what it feels like. And then you can navigate your life pretty well, because you know what resonates and what doesn't resonate, what needs more attention, what is good. You know, you can understand the mechanics of your energy system and of your body. And that's how you navigate through life, not necessarily from your mind only. The mind is great. The mind, creating a website, you need your mind, you know. But yeah, just go inwards. This is why the heart is such a powerful portal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so many beautiful words and wisdom coming out of you. It's yeah, it's such a delight to have this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for bringing all of this through. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we finish?
If you want to find my stuff, I'm sure there will be links provided.
I will provide links, absolutely.
I think just remember, like I just said, go outside. Go outside whenever, connect to the earth, go plant some plants, like go to speak to some trees, check in with yourself and start writing. Some people really like that, because maybe checking in like this is quite difficult for people, but when they write, they go into a different state, and that can be good for people. So that's what I say to a lot of clients, like, do some journaling, write down stuff, literally write down, how do I feel today? And be honest. You can swear in it. Like, no one's reading this besides you. You can swear, you can say the most horriblest things ever, but you know you're just releasing and you're venting, and it's not directed to anyone. And so you're managing your anger in a good way. So when anger does come up, you don't direct it to someone. But even if they're just acting as a mirror, you write this all down. And when you vent on a piece of paper, you can notice that it's like a spectrum of emotions. So you start off with the painful stuff that's right now in your present moment. and then it goes to like, okay, I guess it isn't that bad, and then it goes to like, actually, I'm so grateful for this experience. You know what I mean? Like, so check in, do some writing if you need to, and just don't take things too seriously, because we're here to enjoy life as well, you know. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I just have fun.
Beautiful. Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Gianluca, for sharing so much. I feel really nourished from this conversation. So yeah, I'm really grateful. And thank you to everybody who has tuned in and watched today. And yes, please check out all the links below. And we will see you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for being here.
Bye, everyone.